from growing up New Mexico talk about some of the possibilities we have at centers like this. But first, I'd like to bring up Mayor Keller.
We'll stand next to each other. So, okay, well, good afternoon. Thanks so much. And we're going to really just, we have two folks for you. So I'm going to introduce Monica in just a minute. So as we get started, this is the second announcement that has to do with our theory of change for this term as Albuquerque's mayor. And the theory of change is really based on abundance. It's this idea that the city has things that can help people, and especially in these times of difficult need. So costs are going up. There's a lot of challenges on our families. We have challenges around finding places for childcare, and we'll talk about that in depth today. But this is part of our effort to use that abundance mindset to also literally help people throughout our city. And so this morning we announced how we're doing that with land, how we're making land available for use, hundreds of pieces of city land all over the city for folks to use for next to nothing as long as they put it to good use. This is the beginning of the other side of that coin for facilities. We're going to be doing the same thing with facilities. We're going to share these facilities as often and as much as we can with folks who want to use them. Now, we want to pair that with what is most needed in our city. And we know that wonderfully the state has made childcare in many ways free. That's awesome. And there are specifics around that, but in general, childcare for families in Albuquerque, New Mexico is now not a cost issue. However, it is an access issue. People can't find a place to get that childcare that the state's now paying for. And the reason, in part, why they can't find a place is because we need more providers, but the people who do want to provide childcare need space to provide it. So that brings us full circle right back to here. Places like this, unused pieces of our community center, like right here, or places that are next to early childhood centers, like right across the street. We already run an early childhood center, but we could expand that by adding more kids in here. So we are going to be opening up city facilities to different organizations that can use it for childcare. And so we're going to hear from one in just a moment. And so again, this is really about early childhood development. So there are all the studies that show how important this is. And again, our state has made this not necessarily a cost issue. It's actually a resource issue, a physical resource issue. And that's where the city can come in and actually be helpful. So we want to offer spaces all over the city, dozens of spaces, to home childcare providers, other childcare providers who are doing that work, and we're just going to say, hey, basically you can use this for free. You just got to get all the certifications and stuff you've got to do, and that way we can get more of our kids in that desperately needed childcare, and of course also help out the parents too. So with more on this and the perspective from really providers, I do want to introduce Monica Archuleta from Growing Up New Mexico. Monica?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And I do have to say this is very exciting. So it's exciting not just for your community, it's exciting for the children, the families, and also, of course, the providers, the home-based educators. So yes, the home-based educators typically are able to care for no more than 12 children in their home, if they're licensed for that. Oftentimes they, of course, want to care for more or are caring for more, but can't at one given time. So to be able to have access to this kind of beautiful space in order to care for more children to fill the need is pretty awesome. And so I would say that this not only opens up additional space for children where they can learn, they can engage with their peers, their families can thrive while they're working, know that their children are in a safe space, again, going back to accessibility. But it also expands a workforce. So we're able to put more educators in the classroom and to work and be able to grow that workforce as well. So thank you again. I do want to say too, just our home-based educators, again, going back, they're not always able to serve that higher number of children, and they would love to be in a space like this, but for them, that's often a goal that's unattainable because our economy, and to be able to sign a lease, find a space, be able to be in communities where they know that they can fill these spaces. So again, thank you. Thank you for having me. I don't know. What else do you want to talk about? Yeah?
They might have questions, so
Let's do it.
we'll wrap it up and take questions. So you can see the philosophy here. And again, this is part of what we're going to be announcing at the State of the City, which is our third term theory of change, which is the city's abundance agenda, sharing things like our facilities and our land with anyone who wants to put them to good use. Now, specifically, I would also just add with childcare, these locations are powerful for any community you put them in, because we know we need more childcare facilities throughout Albuquerque. And we have facilities throughout the entire city. So out of the dozen or so facilities we've already identified, they're in different locations throughout every quadrant of the city. I also want to highlight, though, that we do have situations even with city workers, like we have different, like City Hall. Why don't we have early childhood care at City Hall? Because we already know there's 1,000 people working in the building. This is exactly the kind of thing we can also do for city employees through this process. So again, it's meant for the public, but we also think there's some natural places we can put it where most likely a lot of city workers are going to be able to access this, and that's a good thing for all of us.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to add that through our Escalones Child Care Business and Support System at Growing Up New Mexico, we do provide one-on-one direct support to anybody who is doing this important work. So if somebody is interested in becoming a home-based childcare directly in their home, or if they want to expand out into larger space, that can be pretty intimidating. And so we're here to help them every step of the way so that they can be successful in this larger goal.
Awesome. Well, with that, we're happy to take questions on this. And it's up to you guys, yeah.
So that Childcare, so you brought up how there were places that you and Albuquerque that have the resources for this. Are there any right now that come to mind where we could see something like these come up?
Sure. So there's 4 health and human services facilities, one in each quadrant, and these are all on our website. These in general have extra space. And so you can look them up, but there's one in Los Griegos. This is one right here. And then we have John Marshall, and then we have Ruth Adams in the southeast. So those have been early identified as available spaces. We also know there's a place called Pinot Yards. Like, no one knows about this unless you work at the city, but we have at least 500 workers there every day, and we have extra space there. Pinot Yards is an old school in the northeast that the city bought a long time ago. City Hall is another example. The other one is Plaza del Sol, which is our other like skyscraper downtown. That basement has some space we could do early childhood in. So off the top of my head, those are some. We have some properties along Gibson, some space along Gibson too. And so that's the short list right now.
And I guess follow-up, are there any areas right now in Albuquerque that you guys know that are underserved in terms of places for childcare, or that maybe at least right now don't have like that kind of facilities that you guys want to see?
So I'll start, but you can add to that if you
Sure.
know some areas. So first and foremost, we know childcare facilities need to be located where people either live or where they work in general, right? Because that works for the parents who are dropping them off. And so that automatically points you to a need anywhere where there is a large workforce, which includes City Hall, Pinot Yards, downtown. But that also includes neighborhoods that don't have necessarily enough childcare facilities. The only area in general so I would say in general, we need early childhood care centers in every neighborhood. So that leaves basically there are massive pockets throughout the city where there aren't any. But if you want to visualize anywhere where there's lots of houses and nothing else, that's where we need them the most. So you see it out in the Southwest Mesa, you see it out in the Northwest Mesa, and also kind of in Mid-Heights area. So off the top of my head, those are 3 areas where we know just the housing density doesn't match the available providers.
Mm-hmm. No, I would echo that. I think that our state, there's a high need for childcare and early childhood programs throughout our state. And so anywhere within the city of Albuquerque that you open up, whether in your home or a center, you're going to be filling a need.
Good question, yeah.
Alex Gusar from KRT. Is this
So the city's works on both sides of this equation. Right now, we are already one of the largest providers of early childhood care. We've been doing that at the City of Albuquerque before all of this, like for 40 years. So we already do train, hire, and recruit early childhood providers. So we're going to continue to do that, but then offer them to partners who can help us expand. So in that case, working with a partner, someone, for example, in the network, they would really be responsible for that, but they can also just call like our folks and say, hey, how many applicants do you have? Do you have some extra applicants and things like that? That's why the city is a great place to start this, right? Technically, you could do this anywhere with any building. But the city is really well positioned because we have some expertise. And of course, we have buildings that we're willing, because of the fact they're owned by taxpayers anyway, we would give this facility away essentially for free. We might charge for, they'll have to do their own improvements or something like that. So that way folks don't have to pay for rent. That's the real other advantage.
Wow. Again, wow, that is great. I would also add that, again, our program does offer specific trainings. We offer guidance to those required trainings because the state, and once you are licensed here or in a space like this, there are very specific professional development requirements. So we would also help with that guidance and ensuring and helping people to receive what they need. Okay.
All right, anything else? Okay, well, we'll be working on this for the next 3.5 years, so lots more. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
That on real quick.
Okay.